All right, we are in Manchester. It's night time. It's 8 p.m. The gig starts at 8:30. Google Maps says it's an 8:30 walk, but I'm at the pace that I'm at. So that's about 15 minutes for me. So we should be there nice and early, or right on time, really, if I'm being honest. I'm going to do this gig. It sounds interesting. The concept is, he told me a bit more about it. Audience members write down questions for the comedians into a piece of paper. They write on a piece of paper questions for the comic to tackle, and then I think the comic goes on stage and pulls the pieces of paper out of a hat, and then I guess we're riffing, we're improvising on the questions, we're answering things, which, to be honest, is a bit like Spearhead Sunday. So I feel like this is right up my alley. I've never done a show like this. I've never ever done one of these improv shows. I think maybe years ago I did like one of those prompt shows where you get up on stage and behind you is a projector with prompts that you don't know what they are. Like the person who runs the show wrote the prompts. I think I've done something like that. That was terrifying and ended up miraculously being good. Because that's always the worry, isn't it? Like you get up on stage and you just suck. That's a fucking very valid fear. Ooh. Or if you get a question where you're like, I don't know why I'm thinking these thoughts. I like when I have control and I know what's going to happen. Oh no, I have done a couple of these actually, thinking of it. I've done Neil Cole-Hatkar's comedy Untamed, I think it's called, where the host will be on stage and, you know, Neil will go, "Things never said in Melbourne," and there's 6 comedians and you'll run up to the mic and say, "Oh, no thank you, I don't like oat milk," or whatever. You know? So, that's the vibe. Anyway, we're here in Manchester. I'm going to say something crazy. Everyone here has told me about how amazing Manchester is and how much I'm going to love it and how much of a beautiful, incredible city it is. I don't know if I'm crazy for this. I found it quite boring so far. I don't know if I'm here at the wrong time. Like, I know it's school holidays. So, like, for example, the student accommodation where I'm staying is a fucking ghost town. It reminds me of one of those abandoned Chinese cities. You know, those giant, like, cities in China that are fucking full of skyscrapers that have been empty for years? Was some corrupt developer's dude's idea. That's what it feels like in my student accom, where I imagine it feels like that because it's school holidays, there's no students, they're all on holiday, or I don't know where the fuck they go. But anyway, yeah, you know what, it reminds me heaps of Melbourne, where it's like there's a lot of buildings and there are people walking around, but fucking nothing's happening. It's just apartment buildings and office buildings. And that's kind of it. That's the vibe that I get from Manchester. And I feel like, I said this to my mate who lives in London, and I'm like, why do you like this? Like, you told me so many times that it was amazing and that I would love it. Like, why do you like it? And they basically said, oh, it's like a much quieter, more relaxed London. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't like it, because it just feels like Melbourne, you know? Whereas if you lived in London, this would feel like a beautiful, peaceful break. Whereas for me, I just feel like I am in London. I mean Melbourne. I flew 30 hours to get away from that. Anyway, this little area is cool. I still need to check out this bar, Bunny Jackson's. I might do that on the way back. I want to go there partly because it's like a rock and roll bar, but mainly because the other night I walked down here and there were 3 girls trying to convince their friend to go in who didn't want to go in because she wasn't dressed as nice as the other girls. And she's like, "You don't have to be dressed fancy, it's Bunny Jackson's." So that really, really amused me. Just hearing some girl yell Bunny Jackson's, and now I want to go in. Anyway, we've got a bit of a walk ahead of us, so I might check in when we're at the club, hey?
First time performing in Manchester. Alright, first time on this stage, make some noise for Lewis Spears. I think that Stephen Hawking would have had a terrible time on Epstein Island. Are you telling me that you were molested by Stephen Hawking? Really? Look, I'm no victim blamer. I just think that if you were molested by Stephen Hawking, you had to participate heaps. Are we sure that he's not the victim? You know, like how does that even work? Check the chat logs on his fucking machine. I bet it says stop, help, heaps.
Okay, showtime in Manchester. Just did my hair and everything, had a little shave. Just gonna put the boots on, get the cameras and everything ready and head out. Catching an Uber there because it's a pretty big walk from where I am. And I've got all the posters and the merch and that, so gonna jump in the car, get to the club. This is our first double show of the tour. So I did 2 shows in London, but I did them on 2 different nights. We couldn't get a double show organised with the timing, so this is the first double. However, this is a really small room. So Manchester is one of the cities that we were on the fence about booking, but we did it and then we sold out the first one really quick because it's only 65 in there. It's like a nice little dungeon room. It's a really cool club, but it's really small, which is perfect for like first tour. So we sold out the first one, that's 65, that'll be fucking heaving because it's a really small room, so I think it'll be pumping with 65 in there. Because the last night, I think that was like 20 something, maybe, and that felt awesome, that felt like a really full, you know, it's a very small little dungeon room, so that'll be good. The second show, I think as of yesterday, we had sold like 12 or 13 tickets. So that's enough to have a good show. I would like, hopefully, there to be 20 to 30 people by the time we actually do the show tonight. I'm hoping we'll get some door sales. They're going to try and canvass some people that are walking past, see if we can get them to come downstairs. But yeah, man, I'm very happy with, what is that, like 80 to 90 people that have come out to see me in Manchester. That's really good. That's one of the higher selling cities because we did, I think, a little over 200 in London. We did 40 to 60 in Bristol. Birmingham actually surprised me. I think we did like 60 in Birmingham. And then, yeah, it's looking like 60 to 80. Oh no, 65 to the first show, plus, yeah, okay, so we might do 80 to 90 in Manchester, which is all, I mean, that'd be our second biggest selling city, so that's awesome, you know? Anything like even close to 100 is a huge win, I think, in my books for these first shows. For the first time we've ever gone anywhere, so that's excellent. I'm stoked. So I'm going to pack up, book the car, and I'll see you when we're in there. Have a good one. Alright, so we're here. This is the club. How cool is this? This street is Spear Street. There's a little sign that says Spear Street, but I'll show you the club. So it's Creatures Comedy Club. It's in this bar, which is just downstairs. Hey, buddy. Everything in London is downstairs. Not London, England. So down all these stairs, through this door, and here we are. This is the club. So as you can see, it's just a little one, but it is cool. What the fuck's going on with my camera settings? Why is this so dark? Sorry, you can't see anything. I'm gonna fiddle with this so you can get a proper look. Here we go, that's better. Okay, so this is the club. It's 65 seats, absolutely packed. This is the tiny little stage over here. You can see, so there's not too much room for me, but you know, it all happens up here. I'm very early, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my cameras and then I'm going to go and get coffee, and that'll tide me over, because 2 shows one night, it's a big effort, man, especially meeting everyone afterwards, because you got to do the first show and that's obviously heaps of fun, and then you got to meet everyone, sell the merch, do all of that, and then you got to pack up and set up for show 2, do the second show, and then meet everyone after that. So it's a big effort, but obviously very, very worth it. And yeah, dude, this is like such a cool little room. This is my POV up here. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all set up, but yeah, man, Manchester, Creatures Comedy. They do comedy 7 nights a week here, and often they're doing 2 shows a night, so really, really cool. I love little dungeon rooms, low roof, everyone's packed in, and one of my favorite things is the audience, you're surrounded. So there's people sitting here, there's people sitting there, and you're like in the thick of it, right in the middle. It's my favorite setup for comedy. All right, embarrassing development. I left my fucking travel adapter in the hotel. So I am rushing to a local Tesco's to see if they have one. If they don't have one there, I'm gonna have to get an Uber to the hotel and then back here again. Lucky I got here early, man, because without that I can't film the show. And if you don't film it, it didn't happen. So this is the fire we're trying to put out today. Okay, crisis averted. I found one at a smoke shop. The smoke and vape joints here sell everything. It's amazing. So now we're heading back to the club. It's only 6. The show's not till 7:30, so I can relax. Full on crisis averted, man. That was going to be a disaster. I couldn't film the show, or if I had to go back to the hotel, that would have stressed me the fuck out. But now we're here. This is like the main area of Manchester. This is like the northern quarter, where it gets really busy. That's the main street. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got Piccadilly Gardens in it, which is where a lot of people have lunch during the day and a lot of homeless people fight during the night. And dude, it's really, really grey around here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's super grey. I saw this bookshop that also does coffee, so I'm gonna run in there for coffee. Jaywalking is incredibly legal here, but also feels incredibly dangerous. But I think I've got a handle on it now. Quick look and go. Don't think, just fucking go. Think a little bit, but not too much. Anyway, can you hear me calming down? All right, here we are, independent bookshop and cafe. Okay. Got it, we're back. Have a look at this, because I haven't really showed you too much of Manchester, but look at all these old buildings. Like all these beautiful old brick buildings. This was like pretty much an industrial city, man. So I don't know, a lot of these places were just like factories or stores or places where they made shit. And the entire city is like surrounded by canals. Which is basically what they used to ship everything they made off to other parts of the country and the continent. So there are people here that live on the canals in their little boats. And if they get sick of Manchester, they can take their boat all the way to London or to any other part of the country. Like before the invention of like cars and shit, the roads were canals. So now what you have is you've got all of these like beautiful old brick buildings you can see behind me, and they're everywhere, dude. All these old buildings, and now most of them are shops down the bottom and then like stores up top, which is really sick. I would love to live in one of these old little buildings. Like the guy running the club, Evan, he lives in some building that's fucking older than his great-grandparents. It used to be a bank. So it was like this beautiful, majestic building. And now just some comedian lives in it. It feels wrong for a comedian to live in such a beautiful old historical building, but here we are. This is the Comedy Club on Spear Street. That's the entrance for the peasants. I'm going to show you guys the entranceway again now that my camera settings are a little bit better. So there's the club. This is the pub upstairs. And then down here is the Comedy Club. Fuck. Hey, dude.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. I had the biggest fucking detour. Hey, buddy. Have a look at this, dude. This is the trouble with when you're doing smaller places. There's nowhere to, if it's really packed out, there's nowhere to put the camera. So today, we're putting it on top of the bar fridge and crossing our fingers and hoping that it doesn't collapse when someone gets a drink. That'd be a nightmare scenario.
Talking to yourself?
Yeah, I'm vlogging, dude.
Sick, finally.
I was just saying that it'd be a nightmare scenario if this fell on someone. Not because a beloved patron would get hurt, but because it would damage my camera.
Yeah. Fuck the people, it's all about the content.
Absolutely. When you're ready, dude, can we get the stage lights how they would be?
All right, testing, test. I usually am quite loud. I usually yell, and this is the volume at which I usually speak when I'm doing my 10-hour presentation on eugenics. Definitely be back next year. It'll be bigger, it'll be better. Bring your friends. I'll see you then. I'm Lewis Spears. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, Manchester.
Like a Chinese knockoff of Walking Dead. It's fucking terrifying. They're coming up to the car and they're showing. I love how you looked at Min to check if it was okay to laugh. She's having a nice time. It's all right.
I'm a Buddhist too.
Oh, fuck! Are you actually?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What's your nationality?
I'm from Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Safe. Nice. Yes. Have a great night. Thank you.
Just finished the 2 Manchester shows.
Yeah, you did.
With Evan.
Smashed both of them, dude.
It was awesome. I'm stoked. Thank you, Manchester.